The rubber ducky.
The rubber ducky. Tell your buyers, let's just play. Let's play the game. Like if I, as the listing agent, call you, the buyer's agent, and say, hey, I know you got a showing scheduled for 3 o'clock. Just letting you know, we've already got an offer. Seller is going to allow the rest of the showings. Don't cancel the showing. Like tell the buyer, let's get in the game. Let's play the game. Like why would you not want to? It just doesn't make any sense.
Put in the same offer you would have put in before.
Yeah, put in the same, because you have no idea what the offer is. It could be nothing, and you could win. If you get mad and you start thinking, oh, this shit doesn't work, this doesn't work, I'm gonna go back to calling the low-hanging fruit, this doesn't work, then it's not gonna work. But if you stay positive and you think about it and you just keep telling yourself, I'm gonna kill this. And then 6 months from now, I'm gonna have closings out this world because of it. So everybody here knows that I've become really big on the whole, like, trying to be more intent about manifesting and stuff like that. So I watched this video, and you know, everybody knows that I've been more intentional about the whole manifesting thing. So I did watch this video, and long story short, the video said to think about either a drum or a rubber duck in certain ways and do certain things in your head with it. And then I'll be damned if 3 days later, you know, because I really wasn't that big of a believer on it. I mean, I knew it was real. People talk about it, and I've been kind of researching it for the last year or two or whatever. But that rubber ducky video is the one that set it in stone for me, because, I mean, when I came in 3 days later, because it says, you know, there's no, like, time frame. It's going to happen. You just got to believe it or whatever. Yeah. And then I come in, man, and we're playing the question game that we do in here every now and then, and you're throwing a rubber ducky around. Yeah. So, I mean, it just kind of like, whoa, okay, this is real. This is real. And a lot of people probably think this is like witchcraft and all that kind of stuff. Some of my friends tell me that, but man, it's been more situations than just that if you really get intentional about it, I really think that it's something real, man.
About what you focus on.
About what you focus on, boom. Yep.
About what you focus on.
Yep.
What you focus on expands.
Yep.
And if you're focused on negative stuff, well, negative stuff just snowballs. Trust me, I know what that place looks like. And it's dark.
Yep.
You know, you start focusing on your health in a negative way. Yep. It goes downhill fast. You focus on it in a positive way. It all changes real quick. Blair had said to me that you have 9 closings, and you said to me...
Yeah, okay, so I said it's really 7 closings because 2 of them were a double-sided deal that I was fortunate to be able to do. So in my head, it's like, it's not really 9 closings, maybe 9 units. But going back to the whole rubber ducky thing, I'll be damned if I said that. And then it went from 9 to 7 because I had one fall apart.
No, but first you tried to blame me for talking about it. Oh, we're not going to talk about what's going on in our business until it's already done.
It's already done, yeah.
But then, like, you said it's 7.
Yeah, and then it turned into 7.
It turned into 7.
Yeah.
So that, we call that, the new name for that's getting duckied.
Yeah, getting duckied.
Getting ducked.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Getting ducked.
So let's talk about how you got to the point. I mean, that's a good month.
Yeah, it's awesome.
7, 9, whatever the number is. You know, I mean, they're talking about 1 million real estate agents leaving the business in the next 12 months. What do you think's different in what you're doing and what other people are doing?
I mean, I think I still have a lot of room to continue to do more and be more consistent than what I have been, because I mean, that's what I'm trying to manifest is a certain number of closings for the year. Yeah. And you know, it's easier said than done, especially with everything that's going on, but I just think that the consistency is key. And I think we all kind of fall into these little ruts when we have months like this. We kind of say, oh, it's okay, you know, I've got this amount of closings, I can kind of just slack off a little bit. And then I know from experience when I've done that, you go months.
When you focus on the wrong things.
When you focus on the wrong things, yeah.
I mean, you're a lover.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you focus on well, I don't even want to talk about that because it's focused on the wrong thing. But you had a bad stretch at the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
But the one thing I really appreciate about working with you, and I put that in that Facebook post, is that you always take responsibility for it. You're not like, Bob, look, you suck, I'm not making any money.
Yeah.
It always goes back to like what you're focused on, really.
Yep.
So I had an interesting meetings with people today, and I was talking to the agents, you know, like I had some accountability meetings today, and we were talking about the time spent and then the consistency on the time. You know, one of the focuses you've always had is expired listings. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think other agents see that, and they've worked to to focus on the expired listings, which is not an easy game.
Yeah, yeah.
We've been real focused on that and on FSBOs. Both of them are very challenging. And, they're not I guess an amateur could luck into some of them, but for the most part, it takes several contacts and several follow-ups to get to the point that they're ready to do something.
Yep. And they're getting hounded by who knows how many.
Yeah. So one thing I was saying with those guys is, is going back, what's their goal? What are they working to accomplish by the end of the year? Like the end of the year being June.
Right.
Through the end of the year,
yeah,
because
yeah.
right now, if we're going to make any change, it's not going to happen until June, right?
Yeah.
So what would make it a great year? What would that amount be to close? And, we got to this formula and it's like, okay, so how many listing appointments is it going to take to have this many closings? And then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And see, this is something that I've learned today is that they're all over the place. And I feel like this is a big challenge for a lot of real estate agents. I compare it to picking mushrooms. Let me just talk about the mushrooms for a minute.
Yeah.
You know what morel mushrooms are?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All over Facebook right now.
Yep.
That morels, this is morel season, and it pops up, found this big pile of mushrooms in Russell County. They got a picture of all these mushrooms spread out. And, I used to go mushroom hunting with my grandfather, and he would take me out into the woods and take me right to where the mushrooms were.
Yeah.
I just had to be able to see them, right? And the first one, before you see the first one, I think this has a lot to do with prospecting. Because before you see the first one, you're probably stepping over 10 of them, right? But until your eyes actually catch contact with one on the ground in the leaves, you don't see the other ones. And then all of a sudden, you can see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I spent about, I would say 4 hours this weekend down at my cabin in the woods in different locations. Now, I've been watching all these YouTube videos, go to the south side of the oak forest and the south hill or the north hill, or then you got to look for dead trees and you got to look for this and you got to look for that. And I swear I put myself right where all the advice told me to be. And I never found a mushroom.
Yeah.
I spent 4 hours, right? And it really made me think about my grandfather a lot and how he could take me to those spots. So wait a minute, like, how do I expect in 4 hours to know what he knew when he showed me where those mushrooms were?
Yep.
Like, how much time did he spend looking for mushrooms before he found his first one?
Yep.
And then the confidence that you get once you find one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Once you find one, that confidence keeps you on that patch or on that area. And it says, okay, well, they're out. This area they've grown. And even though now we see it on social media, we see people saying that they're out, like that gives you the confidence that they're out. And that in turn pushes you to look for more.
Yep.
Like you go out there for an hour, don't find any, start thinking about ticks and how you probably got 3 of them on you because you forgot to put the bug spray on. You're done.
You're done, yeah.
You're done and you never find one.
Yeah,
So I spent
yeah.
4 hours and I was done. So then I thought about that today when I was talking to those guys. I was like, I'm asking them what they're doing and what they're going to do to get appointments to hit that goal. Because their goals, like I say, like, look, they good goals for them, right? Like, but they weren't stretch goals.
Yeah.
By any means. They are at the skill level that they all should be able to hit those goals. But what are they going to focus on? It was really interesting that no one had that, like they're in their minds, they're mushroom hunting.
Mm-hmm.
They're not seeing this success. And I feel like that's the case with a lot of real estate agents. Like you know how many conversations it's going to take you to get the result you want. You know, because you've been successful and done it before, that you're just 1 no away or 2 no's away or,
And that's kind of like, and I've talked with, and I love getting with those guys and they know that. I love sitting in on call sessions with them and because they think it's funny because I'll just take the phone away from them and it's probably bad to say on this podcast, but I'll take the phone away from them and I'll just act like I'm them, but they get to hear conversations and objection handlers and stuff that I've used in the past that, like you said, that I found out that worked and then continue to use it because I'm like a little robot. I say the same stuff.
Right.
And, but yeah, I think that's the biggest key for them is learning how to do what we all used to do when I first started on the team, and we were really heavy on it and still are about the whole reverse engineering it.
Yeah.
Knowing that, okay, if I want to make this much money this year, then I can break it down to how many hours on the phone I've got to have every day.
Yeah.
Not even really contacts. And as long as I know, like you said, if I'm getting kicked in the face and I'm getting yelled at and I've heard 25, 30 no's and I'm getting hung up on and cussed out, I know it's coming.
Right.
And it's almost like you feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel it by the way the conversations are getting just a little bit better and better and better. And then boom, one sets the appointment with you, you go and it's a first one call, one listing deal.
Yeah.
And then you sell the house in 3 or 4 days. They're stoked. They're giving you referrals. I mean, it's crazy how it all pans out.
So my challenge to them was, because you remember when we had the $100,000 guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought at the time that anybody that spent 2 hours on the dialer
Yep.
every day for 48 weeks out of the year, there was no brainer they were going to make $100,000.
Yep.
We figured out that there's people out there that can stay on the dialer all that time and not make $100,000, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because everyone that we'd worked with in the past would totally do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So that was my challenge to create some consistency. Was instead of jumping from FSBOs to expireds to calling through the database, it's like do 10 hours circle prospecting this week for the next 5 business days.
Yep.
Do 10 hours
Yep.
and see
And
the results
see
you
it.
get. Because if you haven't done it, well, you can't say that you know the results.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about that with the mushrooms. If I spent 10 hours looking for mushrooms, 10 hours, I would have to find one. If they're out, I would have to find one somewhere. If I walk on 10 hours, I do 10 hours worth of walking in the woods, sooner or later I'm going to trip over one, right? So it's like, that was one of my ahas from those accountability meetings, though, is just that how much they were jumping around.
Well, and I mean, I get stoked about, we call them nurtures, but I think a lot of these, sometimes the mindset is if you are in that scarcity mindset, you're looking for that deal right now versus looking to just build that relationship, because the probably 6 out of the 7 closings that I'm having this year are from months ago. You starting conversations.
6 out of 7 this month.
Yeah. But they're from like months ago. It's not like I just got on the phone and talked to them and boom, it's here. Like it doesn't work that way. I mean, every now and then you'll get one like that. But I agree with you. I think if they did, myself included, 10 hours of nothing but just what we call circle prospecting, I think it'll be a domino effect. I think if we did it for 90 days straight, I think in 6 to 7 months from now, it would be ridiculous, the results that we would have.
With that specific script.
With that script, yeah.
With the script.
Because we're not telling you guys.
With the script, because that opens up the window of opportunity.
Right.
Like in a way that we've never been able to open it before.
Right.
Because it just puts another layer of thought, and it's an offer. Instead of it being an ask, we're making an offer. So I think I think just to see those results over the next week is going to be really cool. So you're new in the business.
Right.
Why would the guy that's been in it the longest have the most time?
Yeah.
Like, I just never was in that mind. I was always like hungry for more. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be number one.
Yeah.
First thing I'm going to do is more than everybody.
Yeah.
And then to see that was also, I think it was one person that had more time since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Since the whole beginning of the year, taking the whole time.
Yep.
That part of it, that personal responsibility to say, okay, I'm going to do more than the top producer. I'm going to do more than the top producer, not less.
Mm-hmm.
Like what frame of mind causes someone to do less than the person that's doing more?
Yeah. Well, and then now, and they know this and everybody knows this, it's different than it was a couple of years ago, because now everybody's getting hammered with calls that they don't want to get.
Yeah, right.
So the answer rate, it's taken a lot more now than it ever did. Time-wise. Yeah.
I think about that too, because I get those calls. I mean, we sit close to each other in the office, so you hear me on the phone. The calls that I get, telemarketing calls, I probably get 20 a day. They're all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not someone calling to offer me something and help me. Their offer is a free trip.
Yeah.
Like, this is Hawaiian travel. We're calling you because we're going to give you a free trip. Like that's the offer they're giving me. Some bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, so I just think about someone from our office calling because we sincerely care.
Right.
We sincerely offer our service.
Right.
We sincerely know that we're going to have to contribute to their life for the next 5 years before they're ever going to decide to do anything with us. But like getting that point across is definitely a challenge. But I almost feel like it could be easier in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, like when they get a real voice, a real person, there's no delay. Like when someone picks up the phone, you're like, hello.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. It's not a delay in the call.
Yep.
Maybe it's a change in your mindset.
It's got
Maybe you're ducking yourself.
It is, man. I mean,
maybe you're ducking yourself.
It is because we all do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all do it because like I can see sometimes the frustration, including in myself, man. When if you're on the dialer 2 hours, 3 hours, and you haven't gotten anything, that's just that day, though. Hell, you could come in the next day, do the same thing, and kill it.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, nothing. And then, but that momentum and that domino effect, because you're right, it is, man. I mean, it's like if you get mad and you start thinking, oh, this shit doesn't work. This doesn't work. I'm going to go back to calling the low-hanging fruit. This doesn't work. Then it's not going to work.
Right.
But if you stay positive and you think about it and you just keep telling yourself, I'm going to kill this.
Yeah.
And then 6 months from now, I'm going to have closings out this world because of it.
Yeah. The other thing I've been noticing recently is the turn down rate. And I mean, we can blame it on whoever we want, not getting enough information from the inbound leads.
Right.
But I overheard a conversation the other day. There was a buyer that had called in, or we called them, came into our system. Maybe it was a sign call. They wanted to look at one of our listings. They were pre-approved for 130, and the listing was 160. And then it was passed off to the agent. Here, go ahead. They're pre-approved, but not pre-approved for the same amount. Well, the agent called, and the person said, well, I'm going to look at another house with another agent afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, the response was from that agent, an agent on our team, the response was, you can go ahead and give that to someone else. And I guess that's another piece, like another thing that I've seen is like, okay, even if it was only a $130,000 house, say it's $2,000 that they get paid, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is. Just call it $1,000. Is it worth $1,000 to go show a property? But see, I think the part about losing it on your own terms, these opportunities that we get or we see, as many phone calls as we're getting, as many opportunities that we're creating out of the database, losing it on your own terms, like that was what that whole lawsuit was about. People not understanding the value of a real estate agent and why a real estate agent gets paid. And if we're not even taking the time to explain to people and lose that, like, hey, look, I get it. Like, we're scared to ask them to come to the office to do a buyer presentation. Right. But the people that come to the office and do a buyer presentation, those are the ones that are easy to work with.
Yep.
The ones that tell us what to do and have a pre-approval for 130, want to see a house for 160. Because they don't know what they're doing. They need someone to guide them and help them. So passing on those opportunities makes me crazy.
Well, and it's like, I mean, and you know this because you saw it, but you know, I remember several times when we started going really heavy on making our phones ring and getting the inbound leads, getting those smaller leads. But those guys and girls were giving us referrals that were 3-4 times what they were. So it's like, I don't know, don't turn it down.
I think that podcast I did with John Wentworth, it was really good. Did you listen to that one?
Oh yeah.
What I mean, just his mindset, but like the whole we serve thing. Like I've been thinking about that a lot. Like I've been thinking about like, what are we doing for other people? But like, I know in my heart that I would do anything for anyone. And I want people to know that about me. But then how am I relaying that message to people? Like how do I relay it? But I know that's one way. One way, like you can't explain to someone that's going to buy a $130,000 house, their very first house, that's not worth your time.
Right.
Like you're not worth my time. Like that person doesn't belong on our team. Like that person doesn't belong in our space. That really bothers me. Can't believe I didn't flip a table over. I was pissed. Because like you said, you prejudge people like that. One, when is it not worth your time time versus money to go, because they might buy the first house you show them.
Right.
Like,
Right.
they might, or they might refer you someone the very first time you
That
meet
are
them.
2-3 times, yeah, of what they are.
They might have a house to sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
They might have, all the things that are possible.
And sometimes you can double,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
people have their own thoughts about dual agency and all that, but like, if like you just said,
you never know.
you never know what can happen.
Yeah. What are you hearing on the front lines?
We've talked about it. I mean, I truly feel it's still business as usual.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's changed and, all this whatever with the lawsuit and all that. But I agree with you 100%. I think that there's been so much BS put out there about it, all these people talking about it. And really, it's like, it's the same. Sellers are still willing to work with it. Buyers are still willing to work with you, regardless of what they're going to have to do to work with you and to get that
Right.
perfect house that they want.
Right.
As long as, like you say all the time, I mean, as long as you just show your value and they know what the hell's going on. Because a lot of times not all the agents, I'm just saying some of them, a lot of times all they're doing is, they're meeting them at the first showing. They've never talked to them before. And you're just expecting that person to just lay down and hand you a check when all you've done is opened up the door. Like, come on, man.
Like when you're getting people what they want.
Yeah.
When you're getting what they want,
Yeah.
and you're getting them for the price you want,
Yeah.
or you're getting people what they want when it comes to selling their house. Like, people don't care
Yeah.
what you get. Like,
Yeah.
as long as they get what they want.
Well, it's like in the expired listings, because we go heavy on those.
Yeah.
And it never fails. It never fails. When you're in the appointment and you're asking them certain questions and they bring up the fact that like their last agent, they never would answer their phone when they call. They would never, we always do our weekly updates with our sellers and stuff like that. We have tools that we use for that, and they love it. I mean, they're like, it happens. It never fails. 90% of the expired listings that I take and that we take, they tell us straight up that I can't believe, number one, how many showings we've gotten. I can't believe that you guys actually go over this stuff with us. You answer your phone, you give me feedback, and it's crazy to me that some of these agents, and I hate to say this, but it's true. They feel entitled that they should like.
I think some of them are just scared because they don't know what to say.
Yeah.
But I think saying that you don't know what to say is better than saying nothing at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm calling to update you that I don't have an update.
Yeah, we don't have an update. There's been nothing that happened.
I'm still alive.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
You can get me if you call me.
Yeah.
This is my number. Hopefully you already have it saved in my phone.
Yep.
If that's the update, that's better than nothing. And
Yep.
I have been in the position later on in a listing, like before we had all the systems in place to stay in communication, where I was nervous about calling people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm failing, I'm not getting what they want. Like, in hindsight, I can go back and say, well, I could have said this or could have said that. But at the end of the day, you don't have to have anything to say.
Yeah.
It's more about asking them, and it's more about attaching to their motivation and helping them get what they want.
Yeah.
Like you said, you wanted to move.
Yeah. Because a lot of times it's just the price.
It's always
It's just
the
the
price. I got a price reduction from an investor today, and it's someone that I have a lot of respect for. And he's basically been bossing us around the whole time, saying how it's going to go and what's going to happen. Well, we got an offer on one of the properties last night, and it was a lot lower than what the property was listed for.
Yeah.
But I had already told him, go ahead and rent it. Like, it was like, I had already gotten to the point. I'm like, well, this is the deal with the property. Go ahead and rent it.
Yeah.
If you can rent it, do it.
Yeah.
But then we got an offer, and I'm like, okay. Well, the offer was 2/3 of what the price was. So they had taken a whole third off the price.
Yeah.
And that was my angle on the price reduction, is that it's like, look, now we know someone will buy it.
Yeah.
Like, let's see if we can get between your price
Yeah.
and their price. Let's just keep it on for another couple weeks and see what happens. Like, I mean, I think sometimes I lose hope that it's going to sell. And those ones, that hurts too. Like your mindset and the duck and all that stuff.
I know, man. I know, it's real.
Yeah.
But then you got those ones that, it's on for 6 months, and a week before it expires,
you get 3 offers.
like multiple offers, which I love. Yeah. I love multiple
This
offers.
this one expired.
Oh, okay.
It expired yesterday, but I had a second showing. Well, I had a second showing yesterday.
Yeah.
So I extended it past the second showing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, at that point, that was the one that got the offer. So then it's like, okay, now we know it gets, because I was already like, like I said, like when people get upset about us calling expired list, they don't do it as much anymore because we've been doing it for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, if one of our listings expires, call us up. We'll give you the number.
We'll give you the number.
We'll give you the number and give you all kinds of information, everything you need to know.
Yeah, because
so you can help them.
Because
we've gone through it. Yeah. Like we've literally gone through it with them, and they're unreasonable, and they're not going to listen to us. They don't respect us. So there's something there. Go ahead. Help them.
Yep.
So that's a note to real estate agents out there.
Yeah.
If you want to take more expired listings, just call us. If our listings expire, call us. We'll give you the number.
And stop being so scared of multiple offers, man. Get in the game. Like, tell your buyers, let's just play. Let's play the game. Like, if I, as the listing agent, call you, the buyer's agent, and say, hey, I know you got a showing schedule for 3 o'clock. Just letting you know, we've already got an offer. Seller is going to allow the rest of the showings. Don't cancel the showing. Like, tell the buyer, let's get in the game. Let's play the game. Like, why would you not want to? It just doesn't make any sense.
Put in the same offer you would have put in before.
Yeah, put in the same, because you have no idea what the offer is.
Right.
It could be nothing, and you could win.
Yeah, it's fun. That's my favorite part. So what advice would you give to a new agent? Or maybe not a new agent, a struggling agent.
Yeah,
right
I mean, I would say, like, honestly, like, what I did when I first started on this team, not a lot of people know how it was, but I was not licensed when I started on the team. I was what is called an inside sales agent. So I was calling, setting appointments for the other agents. I honestly think that that's a great way to start, even if it's just 6 months. Learning the scripts that work for you, learning what people are saying and how to combat that, and setting appointments, and then
setting appointments for people that you know can get the deal,
and going and watching them, and go on the appointment, watch them, and man, you're going to hit the ground running. I mean, you're going to hit the ground running. I think that's the way it should be. I don't know. I mean,
I've offered that to a couple of the people that have started here, and nobody's wanted to do it. And I think
because we were on the phones, when me and another individual started as an ISA on this team back in 2018. I mean, that's all our job was. Like, we weren't going on appointments and all that. So we were on the phones 5-6 hours a day learning, and
I think an interesting thing that I've gotten from doing the podcast is, when I talk to successful people, so another thing that repeats itself is ego, right? I think about you and the way you handle your business, and you are probably one of the most open to coaching or open to learning people that I know. Yeah. Even though you got 9 or 7 or whatever you want to call it, closing this one, whatever it is. But if there was an opportunity for you to learn something,
absolutely,
your ears are wide open, your eyes are wide open, you're taking notes. Yeah. And I think that in itself, like the ISA thing, I think it takes a certain bit of humility to say, okay, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And these people's dreams of being a real estate agent, I guess those are kind of on the rocks right now for a lot of people. Yeah. But that's a big thing, ego, and how that gets in the way of a lot of business.
And I mean, these guys, they, when I'm on, I am by no way, shape, or form great at everything. And I still have room that I feel that I need to grow with my business and being intentional about certain things that I'm trying to be intentional about. And that's why I'll tell these guys, on our team, let's do some call sessions together. You're going to see that I get it just like you guys get it. I fumble around just like you guys fumble around. But it's just being consistent with it and just staying at it. Yeah. We all got into this gig for a reason. And, it's nice to say that you can set your own schedule and all that. But, you still got to put the work in. I mean, and I know that every now and then some of us, like I said earlier in this podcast, you get those good months and then you kind of in your head, oh, I'm doing good. Maybe I can kind of, but then when that hits you and you're going a month, 2 months, 3 months without a closing, you start to really feel that. So it's I think a work personal life type deal is important. I've got a lot of family, a lot of nieces, a lot of nephews that got a lot of stuff going on. And I've got, some issues with parents that I've got to take care of them on certain things. So, I mean, it's easier said than done to say, well, I'm going to do this, blah, 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 blah. Cause shit happens out of the blue that you don't know is going to happen. You kind of got to work around it and you know that. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's truth to the whole work personal life balance or whatever.
But you have to work.
It's just finding it.
You just have to work.
Yeah, you just got to work.
You have to work. Like what? 10 hours a week?
Yeah.
The work being generating business.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on here. I'm sure people will find this valuable.
Yeah.
And congratulations on a big month.
Yeah, it's going to be good, man.